Respected SP Dharma Patra sir, dear faculty members, my fellow colleagues, and dear friends, first of all, a very good morning to all of you. And it's a great privilege to be here in this very beautiful campus and to experience this wonderful hospitality and such warmth and such love. So first I must thank you all for being so kind to us. I think just me, covered almost everything exhaustively. We were sitting there and, trying to think, so what are we going to speak? So, having said that, I would try not to repeat things. What I'll do instead is I'll, put the things a bit in perspective. My take is slightly different when it comes to this examination. Individually, personally, I never considered this examination as an end. It's only a means. Okay? It doesn't matter to us whether we clear this examination or not. Okay? It doesn't matter whether we have these three letters, IAS at the end of our name. This is not, that what is important. Actually, what is important is the vision that is probably missing in us. We are all very fortunate and very lucky because we all are young, we all are writing and aspiring for this examination. Many of you are aspiring to join the political executive. Okay. Now, why is this very crucial? Because the time in which our country is at present, it's probably, post-independence, the most crucial time that we have. We are staying on this huge demographic dividend. We are a very young country. More than half of our population is below 25 years of age. It's the time when most of the other developed countries and other countries are growing old. At the same time, once we used to, when it comes to economy, people used to call us, this is one of the worst and most miserably poor countries in the world. Then we had this stage post-reforms where resource mobilization is not now a big challenge for us. We have had almost a decade of above 8% growth. And even today, when the world economy is in gloom, we still somehow, despite some problems, we are still one of the fastest emerging markets in the world. Today the world sees us as one of the biggest consumer markets. The world sees us as one of the biggest investment destination. The world sees us as one of the biggest resource pool for the world. Almost every month, we add about 1 million people to our workforce. Similarly, when we compare our country with many other countries who are independent around the same time when we were, the kind of political system that we have evolved over time, the kind of institutions that we all have inherited, there is something, people envy. There is something we are proud of. We have an institution like Election Commission. 2014, we had Lok Sabha elections, which was the ever largest democratic exercise in the history of humanity. And we do it with such poise, with such accuracy and fairness. We have an independent judiciary, at least at the apex level, which does its job so wonderfully well. We have institutions like UPSC, which ensure that the ideals or the right to equality, equality of opportunity, it is there in the true terms. We belong to a nation where we have, somehow now ingrained in ourselves this concept of, the unity in diversity and diversity in unity, be it linguistic one, be it religious diversity, be it cultural diversity, be it the diversity in terms of our cuisine, in terms of dressing, in terms of what we speak and what not. These are some of the things, which have been, truly the biggest achievements, biggest landmarks for us. But at the same time, the story of our country, the story of who we are, is not only about this positivity, it's also about something else. We are 70 years since the independence, yet we have almost one-fifth of our population living below poverty line. I cannot afford to only think about my seat in civil services when more than one-fifth of our population is actually living below poverty line. Because I have the privilege to appear in this examination when millions others like me, more talented than me, do not have the luxury even to sit and write for this examination. Every now and then we talk, as I was telling you, that we are this young country, we are this such a huge youth bulge we have. But when we look at the kind of skills they have, the kind of education they get, it's not something that's done. Hardly 5% of our workforce is having some kind of organized skill. The kind of quality of education in our schools, the quality of education in universities, there's nothing to actually boast off. Long back we used to have big problems of out of school children. There were millions of children who were out of school. Somehow we had the right to education. After that we had a number of programs implemented by the government, and we brought a lot of our school children to school. Children in that age group to school. Now somehow right now in some enrollment ratio in primary schools is around 96.5% or 7%. But still, there is 3% of these children who are not even enrolled in schools. And when it comes to India, every problem is a scale problem. 1% of our population is not just 1%. It is 1% of 125 crore people. When we talk about this, 3% of children who do not want to even enroll in school, this is not a small number. It's a number in millions. And then, enrollment is not same as attendance. It's seen that on a random day, more than 1/3 of children do not attend school, even if they are enrolled in our schools. We are a young country, but still, if you look at the old age population, we also have a huge old age population when it comes to absolute number, which is something around 8.8% of our population. 70 years down the line, we still do not have social infrastructure enough to take care of the needs of our elderly. We still do not have enough means that we can take care of their housing needs, their food needs of their food, or even their health care. We are young, but we have still younger to us. We have this huge number of children, and still we have more than 12 million children who are working as child labor. We are a young progressive nation, aspiring to be, and all of us are aspiring to be tomorrow's bureaucrats and civil servants. We cannot ignore the kind of society we live in, where gender disparity is ingrained. Every now and then, in female infanticide or female feudicide and whatnot, the kind of discrimination that is there at every level, be it in education, be it in economic opportunities, be it in political representation, be it in social recognition. These disparities are there which do not have a justification at any point. And we as aspirants, we as future civil servants cannot afford to ignore these. Every now and then, we come across news related to physical violence against women. Recently we had, you might have come across those news, 3 in Bulandshahr, and maybe you just name the city, you find every newspaper does, cover all these things. And we are reading the newspaper for UPSC, but we cannot afford to miss these headlines when we find that our sisters, mothers, they face this brunt every now and then. There's some statistics, reported statistics, which say that in India almost every 20 minutes one incident of rape happens. This is the reported one. Almost every 25 minutes one incident of kidnapping. Almost every 4 hours one dowry death. These are the glaring statistics in front of. These are things in front of us. This is who we are. How, as if we want to join a service where your role is not limited to one individual, when we aspire to join a service, where every action you take, every decision you make, it impacts lives of thousands and hundreds of people, how can you afford in the first place not to think about all these things that concern us? Why can't these things, why shouldn't these things be the actual driving force? I mean, every now and then, we we have cleared the examination, got this rank or that rank. It's a fact that this actually doesn't matter. Okay? When we have hundreds and thousands of other examples, where people, despite odds, despite challenges, they held on to that path, they held on themselves with conviction because they had that longer ideal in mind, they had that longer goal in mind. And we ourselves cannot afford to, leave aside that longer ideal. I was telling yesterday at one place about we have this, I was writing my main examination, in fact, last year. So I had gone into the examination hall a bit early. So normally we have those wooden tools and chairs where you write your papers. What I observed was to my left there was a chair. Okay, it was a pushback chair. Okay, so I was a bit astonished. How come this very special chair is there? Who is this person who's going to sit on this chair? When everybody settled in, I found that there was a girl who sat on this chair, and she might have been pregnant by her 8th or early 9th month. That's the kind of conviction people have, that's the kind of dedication people have. And this dedication and this conviction simply cannot come because I want to join IAS, because there is something called a Lagbati that is inspiring me. It cannot be. There has to be a larger purpose. We have this wonderful lady in our country called Mary Kom, right? She's the one who broke hundreds and thousands of stereotypes. Unfortunately, we live in a society where we have not only inherited a lot of good things, but also a lot of stereotypes and a lot of prejudices. So people used to tell that girls cannot do it. She proved what? That girls can do it. Then people used to say that married women cannot do it. She proved it that even married women can do it. Then people used to say that mothers cannot do it. Then she proved it that even mothers can do it, and she's a six-time world champion. I was in Jaipur day before yesterday, and there was somebody, while I was speaking, somebody just handed to me a piece of paper. It had a newspaper clipping. It said there's this lady called, I think, Parveen Banu. Okay, there was this girl called Parveen Banu. She got married in 1997 when she was not even immatriculate. Okay, she had done some 8th class and she got married. And while after getting married, her in-laws, her husbands actually supported her, and her husband was very supportive. She wanted to do law. She wanted to become a lawyer. Okay, and in 2007, okay, she completed her LLB in 2007. And few days back, there was a result of Rajasthan Judicial Services came out, and she cleared Rajasthan Judicial Service examination as well. These are the lines, these are the guiding lights in front of our eyes. This year, Jasmeet got rank 3, he's a guy. I got rank 2, I'm a guy. Who topped the examination? A girl. And still, this is one examination. Everybody accepts it. At least 99% of the people do accept this, that this is one of the most competitive examinations that we have. Okay? We have girls topping this examination, and still, we all believe that, the girls can't do like boys can. Last year, out of top 5, 4 were girls. 5th was a boy. And we still think, dude, this is the kind of, the world and the kind of mentality we all have inherited. So, my whole point in telling you this is, do not take this examination, do not take this for granted, do not take this preparation so lightly. Consider it as a process that can help you grow, that can help you improve and change your mindset. At the end of these 2 years, you should not be the same misogynist, same chauvinist as you used to be. You should not be the same person who gets emotional at every remark on caste and every remark on religion. You should understand that there may be differences between people in terms of the religion, in terms of their caste, in terms of their gender, or whatever. But that difference does not make any person inferior or superior to other. You should make this a point in yourself that you will consider. If you have a sister at your home, you'll consider that she has equal rights when it comes to education, be it inheritance, be it every right that you have, she also has the similar rights. And when you as a girl, you should also understand this and make this point, tell this to yourself. You are a girl and you should be proud to be a girl. And being a girl does not make you in any way inferior to any goddamn boy on this earth. So my whole point in telling you all this is, this examination is such that you have 6 lakh people appearing in your preliminary examination. Ultimately, you need to get into that top 1,000. It's possible that even after appearing 7 times, you may not clear the examination. But My point is, it's not important to clear this examination. What is more important is to transform yourself through this process, so that in the end, even if I am not a civil servant, even if I am not an IAS, I'm a better, I'm a more reformed, more progressive, and more productive and contributing citizen of this country. That is what matters. That's what is important. So, I think that was the first part which I wanted to strongly emphasize upon. There are a lot of reasons why I was telling this to you. I come from a place in Kashmir, and I know, that how privileged I have been. I am standing here, but many and hundreds and thousands of children there, they can't go even to a primary school today. Okay, there were so I was initially in a school nearby to my village. So we were at least 300-400 children studying in that school. I was the one who could get a better education from that school. They couldn't. Okay. From that I could go to another better school, but the others couldn't. From that I could get into a good college, but others couldn't. From that I could get opportunity to prepare for this examination. My parents could afford whatever cost it was, but others couldn't. That is a privilege that I carry, and this privilege does only one thing to me. It puts that responsibility on my shoulders that I don't take this for granted. I consider this service as an opportunity, this service as a responsibility, this service as a faith that the system and the people of this country have put on us. And I want all of you to also take it that way, to realize that privilege, to realize that responsibility from the very beginning. Many a times we also wonder, I'm sure that many of you would also have started this preparation. Some of you would have thought that, say, okay, let's do something good. Some of you might have thought that maybe let's listen to the parents. Some of you might have thought that let's look at the Lal Bati and whatever. But what I want is that, doesn't matter where from you started, with what intention you started. But by now, when you're through the process, by now, when you have understood the country, when you have understood the demand of the world, when you have understood the need of the hour, it should change your mindset. It doesn't matter. If I started because I wanted to, do the Lal Bati, now I have to ensure, I should tell this to myself that Lal Bati is not important for me, but maybe an ambulance that can help somebody, fetch a patient from his or her home to the hospital, that's more important. I think, that should be sufficient from my side, and I didn't want to bore you much. But yes, there would be, because in order to complete the whole ritual, because we were supposed to speak on mantra to clear UPSC. So I'll just share a few, 3-4 simple tips with you. First tip is, don't let yourself be micromanaged. Okay, each one of us has a different strategy. Okay, you talk to 10 different toppers, everyone will tell you something different. You did not, completely copy anyone's. Okay, always have this habit of also exploring yourself. For example, when you have to look at or choose an optional, if you narrow down to 3-4 optionals, you can study those optionals, 1 chapter, 2 chapters each, then find which one you are more comfortable in. Okay, so that would be a good thing. Discipline is very important. Jasmine emphasized it so well. Maintain consistency. Have a proper timetable of whatever you study. This will help you very much in the long run. And then one more thing is, this examination, somehow the current affairs forms the heart and soul of this examination, and rightly so. Because as civil servants, as future bureaucrats, we ought to know what is going on around us. How is our economy doing? What are the major crises, major issues that the world is facing today? So all these things we need to know. We need to know them in the right perspective. For that, you need to be good at current affairs, both from exam point of view as well as for your own sake. Okay. But for current affairs, newspapers are a very, very important source. I don't think there's an alternative to newspapers. Make it a habit that you read newspapers every day, you read them thoroughly, you make proper notes, you revise them periodically. Okay? So that is one thing. Another thing is, in this examination, long time back we used to hear this, practice makes a man perfect. And that's indeed true. In every stage of this examination, you require practice. Do practice questions for your preliminary examination, write a test series. Also for your main examination, practice questions as much as you can. You can join a test series, whatever you want. So that is one more thing. Finally, last thing that I wanted to tell you is again the same thing. Stay motivated, stay committed. Take things in positive perspective. Be a positive and passionate person. That is what's more important. Okay. Thank you so much, and I'm sure that you have a great time. Thank you.